Brothers and sisters,
Be a vessel for the message of faith. A moment with God can change everything. Listen, reflect, and be blessed. Here's today's scripture.
Ever thought about how just one single verse from ancient scripture, maybe one you've kind of skipped over, could actually give you some surprising, really practical insights for your day-to-day life, your health, even a whole different way of looking at your relationship with God? Well, today, that's exactly what we're doing into Exodus chapter 23, verse 25.
That's right. And our, let's say, mission here is to really dig into the profound and sometimes quite counterintuitive wisdom tucked away in this one line of text. We're going to explore how it draws this direct line between serving God faithfully and getting some very real, tangible blessings. We're talking bread, water, even the removal of sickness. It might challenge a lot of what we usually think about, where our well-being comes from.
It's actually fascinating, isn't it? How a verse that's thousands of years old could potentially reshape how we think today about something so basic. I'm really keen to see what layers this reveals about how we approach thriving in our own lives. Let's get right into the text. So the verse we're looking at, Exodus 23.25, it says pretty simply, "And ye shall serve the Lord your God, and he shall bless thy bread and thy water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of thee." I mean, it almost sounds too simple, right?
It does sound simple, yeah. But that simplicity, it kind of hides just how profound the implications are. This isn't just, a nice thought. It's laying down a core principle that when you're wholeheartedly devoted, serving God, it connects directly to him providing for your most basic physical needs and your health. It's, like you said, direct. Almost transactional, you could say, but it really opens up a different view on where our daily stuff, our well-being, actually originates.
Okay, right. That's a pretty big claim. Especially today. I mean, we're constantly told, work hard for your food, pay for your health care, strive to be self-sufficient. So how does this ancient promise actually challenge that really deep-seated modern idea that ultimately we're the only ones responsible for our own sustenance and health?
Well, that's what's so insightful here. The scripture immediately pushes our understanding beyond just, human effort alone. It's a powerful reminder that God's provision isn't necessarily limited by just our work. The idea is when we prioritize that relationship with the divine, the promise is that, yes, our physical needs can be met and our health preserved. It really highlights this concept that spiritual alignment, let's call it, can bring very practical, real-world results. It's not saying do nothing, but maybe it's about tapping into another source, a powerful one.
That really is a shift in perspective. But, okay, beyond just the practical stuff, the rewards, what does this verse tell us about God himself, about the divine nature? What's the sort of why behind these promises? It sounds incredibly generous.
Yeah, it does. And I think this verse paints a picture of the divine as deeply caring, like an attentive father, you might say. It suggests a God who isn't, far off and detached from our everyday struggles, but someone who actively wants to bless people with wholeness, with wellness. And that specific promise, the removal of sickness, that's particularly striking, isn't it? It doesn't just hint at power over illness, but suggests an actual will for the well-being of those who serve. It's more than just fixing problems. It's about actively fostering health.
Right. And here's where it gets really interesting for you listening right now. If this holds true, this verse becomes this, incredible source of comfort, doesn't it? And hope. Especially if you're going through tough times, maybe illness, maybe scarcity. It sort of nudges you to think, okay, maybe I should place my trust not just in the medicine or my savings, but also rely on the divine, who's presented here as being able to heal and sustain. It invites a different kind of reliance, perhaps.
Exactly. And there's more to it. Exodus 23.25 is really, at its heart, a call to what you could call covenant living. Think of it like a deep relational agreement. Both sides have commitments, It frames serving God not just as like a duty you have to perform, but something that comes from genuine love, from reverence. And there's this assurance that if you hold up your end, there's a divine response coming.
Okay, so a covenant, a relational agreement. What does that actually mean for our day-to-day relationship with God? It sounds like there's a dynamic here, a sort of two-way street that maybe we don't always think about. What's the give and take?
Precisely. It really casts our connection with the divine as dynamic, reciprocal. The idea is when we genuinely honor God with our lives, how we act, the choices we make, what we prioritize, the response is described as active care, provision. So this verse, it isn't just a promise floating out there. It's meant to inspire a deeper commitment from us. It reminds us that, worship isn't just words or Sunday morning rituals. It's expressed through how we live every day, our obedience, our devotion. It shifts service from being just a task to being more like a posture, a way of life.
And the flip side, the take in that give and take, is that our lives are enriched with blessings, as the verse says, but maybe blessings that, money just can't buy, not just physical health, but maybe peace. That sense of divine presence, it kind of redefines what wealth even means.
Absolutely. So as we sort of wrap this up, what we've really tried to unpack in this deep dive into Exodus 23.25 is, well, it's multi-layered, isn't it? It clearly connects that faithful service part to very tangible physical blessings. That's one layer. Then it reveals this profoundly caring divine nature, one that desires our wholeness, our wellness. And finally, it calls us into this dynamic, reciprocal relationship, one built on love and reverence, not just duty.
So thinking about all this ancient wisdom, here's something maybe for you to chew on. How might reimagining the source, the ultimate source of your daily bread, your water, your health, how might that change the way you approach life? All that constant striving for more. And what deeper kinds of service, maybe beyond what you first think, might actually unlock those blessings money cannot buy in your own life? Definitely some profound connections to reflect on there.
Your support helps this truth touch more hearts. Comment below and stay tuned for divine inspiration. Like, share, subscribe.